So my name is Myriam Moïse. I'm an associate professor at Université des Antilles in Martinique and Guadeloupe, the French Caribbean. I'm also the Secretary General of Universities Caribbean, the organization of universities and research institutes of the Caribbean. I would define myself as both European and Caribbean because we are here in Martinique at the crossroads of cultures and knowledge systems. So I will speak from the perspective of Universities Caribbean and the Caribbean academia. So One Caribbean innovation diplomacy through academic cooperation. So the concept of innovation diplomacy has already been very well framed by Pedro in his presentation. I only want to quote Karayanis and Campbell definition of innovation diplomacy as encompassing the concept and practice of bridging distance and other divides, cultural, socio-economic, technological, with focused and properly targeted initiatives to connect ideas and solutions with markets and investors ready to appreciate them and nurture them to their full potential. So based on the traditional triple helix model of innovation and the following helix models, enhancing a series of interactions between academia, industry, and governments, and it's really to foster economic and social development. And I just wanted to underline the following models, including civil society, university, the cooperation between university and university, which I'm going to discuss, the cooperation between university and industry, university and government, and of course the cooperation between university, civil society, and media-based communities. So as a translingual and transversal organization of universities and research institutes in the Caribbean, Universities Caribbean, my question is, to what extent does our organization promote and develop innovation diplomacy through academia and across the Caribbean territories? As you know, the Caribbean is a fragmented but united space, fragmented geographically because of the series of islands and the situation, geographic situation of our region, but also united through our history, culture, and creolization. So Universities Caribbean, and I'm going to introduce the organization, is the recently rebranded Association of Caribbean Universities and Research Institutes. So the aim of our association is really to foster cooperation among the higher education institutions in the Caribbean region with a more innovative approach, because we would like to create dialogues and discussion platforms between academia and industry, and as well as the government. The association defines the Caribbean as the geographical area comprising islands of the Antilles and the coastal zones of countries surrounding the Caribbean Sea and Gulf of Mexico. So this includes Central America and the northern region of South America and the Guianas. Thereby, we acknowledge the transnational, translingual, and transcultural forces of our region. Besides its transversal nature, the strength of the organization lies in the fact that in its executive and affiliated members, we have the highest ranking officials, presidents, rectors, chancellors, and of higher education institutions in the wider Caribbean region. So decision making is fast and effective. So you see here our executive committee led by Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, the Vice Chancellor of the University of the West Indies, which is the main regional university and with a great global ranking. So here you see the executive committee, and we have a regular membership of about 30 members, and as well as associate membership composed of higher education organizations and strategic partners. So our officials are fully committed to highlighting the importance of cooperation within the tertiary sector in a way to respond to the needs of society and to be able to build coherent and significant contributions to all the priority areas of sustainable development at the national, regional, and global levels, including the environment, energy, technology, and innovation. So these higher education providers in the Caribbean represent national and regional interests, and they are driven by policies derived from governments and the private sector, regional and international. So the evidence has shown that the Caribbean sector has a larger number of international providers than most parts of the world. That is that the regional higher education sector is known for both its multidimensional nature as well as its deep exposure to internationalism. So Universities Caribbean really aims to foster and promote Caribbean development and integration through collaboration and partnership within and across the cultural and linguistic groups that typify Caribbean society. An assumption of this remit has been that despite differences of language and social specificity, the Caribbean is essentially a unified civilization with common historical and existential realities. So the general mandate given Universities Caribbean is to integrate the regional university sector and enhance its quality and regional impact. Cooperation, solidarity, and mutual interest are among the core values of the organization, which aims to be the Caribbean region's voice in the areas of quality, globalization, resilience, and financial sustainability. Universities Caribbean RRR strategic plan that you can see on your screen, 2018-2023, has been built upon three main pillars. First, reputation, to improve the reputation of the sector. The purpose of Universities Caribbean is to improve and promote the reputation of its members with a view to enhance national, regional, and international reputation and prestige of the Caribbean higher education sector. So by promoting the reputation of each of our universities and the sector within which it operates, we seek to strengthen its own reputation as an organization committed to the advancement of Caribbean development goals. The second pillar is the resilience of the member universities. In fact, the Caribbean faces ongoing institutional subversion from forces that are natural to the region, such as frequent hurricanes and other environmental disasters, as well as those events and activities that are rooted in a long history of colonialism and its persistent educational legacies. So the higher education sector is particularly vulnerable as it is considered in many circles as high cost and associated with privilege in communities of scarce resources and the increasing poverty of the social majority. So the organization's role is really to facilitate the deepening of resilience within its membership in order to promote a sustainable higher education sector in the region. The last pillar is the revenue. In fact, to increase the revenue position of members and sector is central to our mission. Most institutes that are members of Universities Caribbean have ongoing financial and budgetary challenges that inhibit their effective functions within the organization. Their individual financial constraints are reflected in the organization's resource scarcity as well as the image of the sector it represents. So the sustainability of Universities Caribbean is dependent upon the improvement of its financial status, and to this end, revenue enhancement is one of the primary objectives of the strategic plan. So the projects to promote mobility, cooperation across the region and create joint research around important regional challenges are actually part of our objectives. And the organizing principle guiding the projects is One Caribbean, which with a focus on priority topics for the region, priority topics which are based on the ongoing challenges for the Caribbean and Latin American region, low growth and debt, crime, domestic violence, high migration and brain drain, low productivity of firms, as well as exposure to natural disaster and climate change, flooding, and sea level rise. So within the organization, transversal and translingual research units focus on topics that are highly significant to the Caribbean region. These topics as ecology, as sustainable development, maritime technologies, public health and tropical medicine, gender and development studies, social mobility, cultural memory, and any other research fields which are relevant to the region. In fact, training academy, there is a training academy in modern diplomacy which actually look at these current challenges. The training, for example, the training on climate change diplomacy and the management of disaster and risk reduction. The current challenges of the Caribbean are linked to all the areas of innovation diplomacy. In fact, we look at security, food, human rights, energy and climate diplomacy, cultural diplomacy, health diplomacy, and all the complex processes of development diplomacy for small states of the Caribbean region. So there is a Diplomatic Academy of the Caribbean which was created by the University of the West Indies based in Trinidad and Tobago, and it is an academy which seeks to enhance and support engagement on global issues. In fact, for the Caribbean, innovation diplomacy is really about a diplomacy of coordination of assistance and access to regional, international, and other relief support, for example, in an emergency situation. With the age of globalization, Caribbean universities have to strengthen the dialogues with Caribbean governments as well as Caribbean industries, and it is also very fundamental to build sustainable strategies across Europe and North America and across the diaspora, because the Caribbean diaspora is very active and with a number of support parliamentary groups. So in terms of our actions in terms of building this innovation diplomacy, in terms of building this regional cooperation across the region, Universities Caribbean has a number of events based on the One Caribbean vision. In fact, we have a biannual One Caribbean Solution Symposium, which is a symposium which creates opportunities for academics to engage with practitioners and to build strategies in order to develop practical solutions to the very specific challenges faced by the Caribbean and Latin American region. And this symposium is really an opportunity for members of the government, practitioners, representatives of the different industrial sectors, and academics to build strategies and to find practical solutions. And this is why we call it the One Caribbean Solutions. It is an event which is very much open to regional and global perspectives, because in fact the last one was held last month in Martinique on regional and global environmental strategies. and it was with the participation and contribution of EULAC-FOCUS, as well as the EULAC Foundation and a number of European partners. And this was on the importance of finding common strategies and solutions to face the challenges, the environmental challenges of the Caribbean and Latin American region. This event was actually, we had a number of participants coming from Latin America, Colombia, as well as the Caribbean, Europe. So it was very much into a international perspective to find environmental strategies. The previous one was held in Jamaica last June, and it was with the Development Bank, with the partnership of the Development Bank, and it was on the link between industry and academia, and we had another set of participants. So this One Caribbean Solution Symposium is for me a platform, an innovative platform to allow dialogues and to build strategies so that practices can become more fruitful for the region and beyond. We also have a target. Our second target is of course the youth, because we have an annual One Caribbean Youth Forum, which is a youth forum to boost innovative entrepreneurship and to create awareness among Caribbean youth representatives across the region. And this is also a way for us to show that the youth, they represent the future leaders of the sustainable development of their region, and they are at the origin of the creation of innovative actions to boost cooperation, regional cooperation across the region. I want to mention that we have a number of strategic partners which contribute to and facilitate the development of our One Caribbean University vision, which would respond to the needs of civil society. And these partners include UNESCO, ESALC, EULAC-FOCUS, EULAC Foundation, the International Association of Universities, La Corpuca, which is the Francophone Association of Universities, the Inter-American Organization of Universities, the Colombian Association of Universities, the SEGIB and LACES, and so on. All of these organizations have pledged commitment to the objectives of promoting greater integration, innovation diplomacy, and partnership across the regional universities and industries. Elected as president of the new organization in November 2018, Sir Hilary Beckles, the Vice Chancellor of the University of the West Indies, has informed that Universities Caribbean will bring the region in line with other parts of the hemisphere and world where similar regional university organizations already exist to support and direct the effective planning and networking of higher education programs and research. I just want to project a very short video of 1 minute, 30 seconds if it works, and then I will say a few words to conclude. Doesn't seem to be working.
Hello?
Yes, I was just trying to project the video, but if it doesn't work, I will just conclude since it doesn't seem to launch. So I will just send it to the participants. So, so as to contribute, I just want to mention that with President Sir Beckles, in order to contribute to the advancement of the work of the organization, 3 executive members have been elected as vice presidents dedicated to research, outreach, and communication. And the executive committee is constituted of rectors from the Anglophone, Dutch, Francophone, and Spanish-speaking Caribbean. And all of these come to strongly underline our dimension, our translingual and transcultural dimension as a regional higher education organization. So our association is fully committed to becoming a central actor in the development of new and innovative ideas to address the social, economic, and cultural changes occurring in the wider Caribbean region. Strategic actions will involve strengthening networks and resources in a synergistic manner so as to raise the status of member institutions of the region through collaboration and create sustainable partnerships to increase the competitiveness of our institution in the global environment. In fact, in this new era of technological advancement, ecological engineering, and global innovations, Universities Caribbean vows to play a decisive role in the social and sustainable development of the region, implement its new strategic plan, as well as strengthen connections among its members and encourage new affiliations across the Caribbean and the Americas and globally. Ultimately, the regional organization really seeks to create an interactive platform in order to boost its members' visibility, sustainability, and overall commitment to serving their communities, and to use higher education to promote Caribbean unity and uniqueness locally and globally. So this is Universities Caribbean vision of innovation diplomacy through academic cooperation. Thank you very much.